Subscribe channel. Do you ever sit down to study, open your books, and then do nothing? Maybe you grab your phone, check TikTok, or clean your desk, anything but start studying. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Today, we're going to break down the psychology of why students struggle to start studying and what you can actually do about it. Our brain is a fascinating machine, but it is not always designed for the challenges of modern education. At the core of procrastination lies a battle between two brain systems. On one side sits the limbic system, the emotional and instinct-driven region that pushes us toward comfort and instant gratification. On the other side lies the prefrontal cortex, the rational and logical area responsible for long-term planning and self-control. When you think about studying, the prefrontal cortex knows it's good for your future. It reminds you that exams are coming, that your grades matter, that investing effort now pays off later. But the limbic system whispers, this feels uncomfortable. Let's avoid it. Let's do something easier and fun, like scrolling your phone or watching YouTube. When these two voices clash, the limbic system often wins because it promises quick rewards. Psychologists call this temporal discounting, our tendency to value small immediate rewards more than larger future ones. From an evolutionary perspective, this made sense for our ancestors. Focusing on immediate survival, finding food, avoiding predators was more important than long-term planning. But in the modern world of long academic deadlines, this ancient bias works against us. Another major factor is fear of failure. Many students procrastinate not because they don't care, but because they care too much. Starting an essay or studying for an exam means confronting the possibility that the result won't be perfect. It feels safer to delay. If you start late and do poorly, you can tell yourself, it's because I didn't have enough time. Instead of facing the painful thought, maybe I'm not good enough. In this way, procrastination becomes a shield that protects self-esteem. Closely related is perfectionism. A perfectionist sets unrealistically high standards and therefore feels paralyzed. They might think, if I can't write the perfect introduction, I won't write anything at all. The result is an empty page. Ironically, the quest for perfection often leads to zero progress. Then there's the sense of overwhelm, also known as task aversion. When a task feels huge, read 5 chapters, write a 0-word essay. The brain perceives it as a threat. Your stress response activates, and instead of engaging, you escape. You tidy your room, reorganize your folders, or suddenly decide to answer old messages. These smaller tasks give you a false sense of productivity while avoiding the real challenge. Research in cognitive psychology shows that once you begin a task, your brain experiences the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency to remember and feel compelled to complete unfinished tasks. This means that starting, even with the tiniest step, creates momentum. The hardest part is crossing the barrier from 0 to 1. In summary, procrastination is not laziness. It is a self-regulation struggle rooted in brain wiring, fear of failure, perfectionism, and overwhelm. Understanding these psychological dynamics is the first step to breaking free. Knowing the brain's biases is one thing, but students also face daily triggers that make procrastination worse. These are external and internal factors that constantly nudge you toward delay. The biggest modern culprit is social media. Every ping, like, and notification is a micro dose of dopamine. Apps are designed to be addictive, rewarding you instantly while demanding no effort. Compared to this, reading a dense textbook feels boring. Your brain naturally chooses the easier source of stimulation. The second trigger is the idea of waiting for the perfect mood. Students often say, "I'll study when I feel motivated," or "I just need the right vibe." But research shows motivation usually comes after you start, not before. Waiting for inspiration is like waiting for the wind to blow before rowing. It may never come. Another trigger is fake productivity. This is when you engage in activities that look useful but avoid the real work. For example, you might color code your notes for hours, watch endless study with me videos, or reorganize your stationery. These actions reduce guilt temporarily because they look like effort, but they don't move the needle. Peer pressure also plays a role. If your friends are constantly chatting, playing games, or inviting you out, it's harder to focus. Humans are social creatures. We naturally align with group behavior. If the group values leisure over study, you risk falling into the same habit. Then there's the guilt cycle. You put off studying, feel guilty, beat yourself up, and then procrastinate more because studying now feels even heavier under guilt. This emotional spiral deepens avoidance. Research shows that self-blame increases procrastination, while self-compassion helps break the cycle. Finally, lack of clarity is a trigger. Vague goals like study math are overwhelming because you don't know where to start. Specific goals like review 10 algebra problems reduce mental friction. Without clarity, the brain defaults to avoidance. These triggers combine into a powerful storm. Dopamine distraction, waiting for mood, fake productivity, peer influence, guilt cycles, and unclear goals. Recognizing them is crucial because awareness lets you design strategies to counteract them. 3. So how do you fight back? The answer is not to become a superhuman machine, but to use strategies that align with how the brain works. The first is to make the task small. Instead of saying, "I'll study for 3 hours," say, "I'll read 1 page or I'll write 1 sentence." This lowers the mental barrier and activates the Zeigarnik effect. Once you start, momentum builds. The second is the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break. This method works because 25 minutes feels manageable and the break gives your brain a reward. Over time, you can chain several Pomodoros and accomplish hours of study without feeling crushed. The third is the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Review a flashcard, send an email, open your notes. This trains your brain to bias toward action rather than avoidance. Next, optimize your environment. Clear your desk, silence notifications, and use apps that block distracting sites. Design your space to reduce friction for studying and increase friction for distractions. A phone in another room is less tempting than one buzzing beside you. Equally important is self-compassion. If you slip, don't spiral into guilt. Instead, acknowledge it, forgive yourself, and restart. This interrupts the guilt-procrastination cycle. Another powerful shift is identity-based habits. Instead of saying, "I want to study," tell yourself, "I am the kind of person who studies daily." Identity shapes behavior more strongly than willpower. Small, consistent actions reinforce this identity until it feels natural. Finally, protect your sleep and health. No technique works if you are sleep-deprived, malnourished, or exhausted. A sharp mind requires rest and balance. Together, these solutions, small steps, the Pomodoro 2-minute rule, environmental design, self-compassion, identity shift, and self-care, form a toolkit you don't need to use all at once. Pick one, try it, and build gradually. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. All true. Remember, procrastination doesn't mean you're lazy. It means your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort. But small steps, repeated daily, build discipline and momentum. So next time you sit down to study, just start with 1 page. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more study hacks.